Hi, everyone. This is Dallan Wortham, host of the Charter School Connection podcast. I'm really excited for another episode today with our guest, William Russell, who is the Deputy Director of Client Management at Charter Technology Solutions. So, William, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me. I always wanted to do one of these, so I'm happy I get to do one about something I know a little bit about.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited. Um, could you just tell us how you got involved in CTS or Charter Technology Solutions, and more specifically, maybe how CTS kind of found its way in the charter school space?
Sure. So, um, I've been with CTS about 10 years. So it'll be 10 years in September. Um, and they started in 2010, so I only missed the first 5 years.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I went to a Catholic school growing up. I knew friends in public school. I'd never heard of charter schools. Did not have a concept of that before I got started. And so it was an interesting thing. I just said, oh, okay. I mean, people need help with computers at schools, and I started out just going there and break fixing computers, and I was like, okay, I know how to do this. I want to get into networking though, but I thought this would be a good avenue to get some additional experience working with users. I had previously worked more in like a R&D kind of framework, so it was good to kind of build up that client service mentality.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I kind of stumbled into it, to be honest with
Awesome. Well, cool.
you.
I stumbled into it myself, and I feel like a lot
Mhm.
of people on the show kind of stumble into it, and it's
Yeah,
a stumble that we're all blessed to have done.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I have to tell you, it was really crazy for me because I think after the first, I think it was, I always remember this about the first 18 months. I said, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And then it became, hey, well, can you manage a team of guys that, can deliver that same kind of service you were doing? Because I was doing good, I guess, right? It seemed
mhm,
like everything was going well. And that was the first 18 months. And I was thinking, I don't know, right? And here I am 10 years later. So
awesome.
really committed to the mission of doing what we're doing. So
Very cool. Well, we'll dive into what makes CTS different and how you are servicing charter schools across the country. But before we do that, I kind of just want almost like an answer for, if I let's just imagine that we're at this fake conference and you have your
mhm,
imaginary booth, and I'm a charter school administrator and I walk up to your booth. What is like
mhm.
the 15 to 30-second elevator pitch of what CTS is and how you service schools?
So the way I would put it is I would say we're a managed service provider. So we're able to provide on-site and remote IT support, network management, and we've recently been able to build up our cybersecurity practice. So it's really a situation where we're looking to be able to be your full value or full circle provider of all things IT.
Awesome.
And we really believe we can deliver that based on our experience, especially
Mhm.
in the charter school world. We have over 15 years of experience in that world. So we really believe that experience that we have, as well as just our hardworking staff. I think we do
Yeah,
the best job.
very cool. Well, let's pretend that a CTO at a charter school is listening to this episode right now.
Mhm.
What skill sets and um, what suggestions would you give to a chief technology officer that's trying to take care of their charter school in 2025?
So I think the biggest thing that is new, even for me, having kind of been in this space for about a decade, is when I first started out, I feel like you were probably dealing with a lot of users that didn't really grow up with technology. They were adapting to
Yeah.
finally losing their blackboard and chalk, right?
Hmm.
And administrators were on top of that too. So being a CTO at some of these organizations now, I think you need to almost have the empathy for all the people that are like, yeah, I know about the initial stuff. I want to do like I want to see bigger things. Like I almost want to tell you what your job is, what are the great things out there. So having empathy for that and actually taking that as a positive in the organization that you can really look to strategize and really help them understand more than it gets to the internet.
Yeah.
So I think that empathy is a big thing. I think also just kind of translating what they see as really simple because of an Apple ad or because of any of these great advertisements that everyone has done. that it is a little bit more complicated than that, right? And being able to kind of break that down for them, I think it's another good uh, skill set to have. And then, of course, for us, it's really being able to connect the dots, right? There's a lot of times that you'll hear disparate issues in disparate places, and being able to say, hey, you know what? I think I see where this issue is coming from, rather
Hmm.
than just like almost surface level solving the problem. You really want to get down to the root cause, and being able to explain that and come up with the right solutions, I think is probably the best skills you can have as a CTO at a charter school right now.
Very cool. Yeah, and I honestly don't know a whole lot about the IT space,
Mhm.
cybersecurity, um, but I do love charter schools. And so, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have seen while working with your current clientele, that schools are facing, and what suggestions do you have to either prevent or overcome them?
Yeah. So I'll take the easy one, which
Okay.
is cybersecurity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like when I got into IT, I used to tell people, I know I'm going to have a job forever because you can't do anything without the internet anymore, right?
Yeah.
And that was 16, 17 years ago. Um, so now what you really can't operate with or without is cybersecurity protection, right? And it's a big thing. The data breaches are wild. This is now like prime time news
Hmm.
for a lot of people, and the government is kind of rallying around that and trying to make sure that the right regulations are in place for people to understand they need to be protected, right? Like
Yeah.
there is a purpose for having insurance of any kind, right? And cyber security insurance has just become the new thing, right? Um, so one of the things that we've been able to do, right, as an organization in terms of developing that cybersecurity practice is really take all of the noise. Because if you were to go do the research, and I remember it felt like I really might need AI to just let me just copy and paste this in here and someone explain it to me. Well, we're happy to be that AI for our clients, right? And be able to kind of drill down all of this information to some really impactful points. It's about 10 points we've kind of drilled down to. I won't go through all of them now. That will save some of that sauce, but there are some things that we've been able to put together that we believe will be very impactful to the organization, but also impactful to the rising cost of cybersecurity insurance, right? And
Hmm.
some of these practices putting in there, just like any other insurance, right? There's a few loopholes that if you get that in there, you can get a better price, you can get a better situation. And honestly, even though if that's your end goal, we can achieve that. But really,
Hmm.
the safety of your organization and their data is really our primary thing. I would say, as we're talking about charter schools, and like I said, I've been doing this for a decade. So before we had a cybersecurity practice, and after, right, and it's very much a BC and AD kind of thing. Um, that's the culture shift of an organization where it was very free form. I'll just bring my own device. Device doesn't work. I'll bring my own device. Oh, I have a USB from home somebody gave me that I bought at the corner store. I'll bring that into the environment. And there was not a lot of checks and balances. And when you start to tighten up that infrastructure or that organizational structure, there can be a lot of pushback, right? There's a lot of uncertainty people feel when you start talking about agents and things on computers, right? These are things that are there to help protect the organization, right? Not to do all this spying stuff that people will probably like to say in other parts of the web, but it's really that being able to navigate that culture shift for an organization and provide that experience that, yes, this is going to be a difficult conversation. Yes, it's going to take another day for some things to get done that you could have gotten done sooner. But it's important to make sure when your boss says he needs a gift card for $150, that is really your boss that asked that, right?
Yeah.
And we really believe that our practice allows us to kind of help clients not only deal with those but learn, right? And educate even those around them. It really becomes a community effort.
Cool. I love that. And let's say, I love these hypothetical situations that
Mhm,
I'm a charter school administrator
mhm,
that's listening to this episode. I know nothing about IT or cybersecurity,
mhm,
but I love my school and I want to protect it.
mhm,
What's the first step? How do I even get started? Where do
mhm.
I go from here if I have no experience in this field?
Sure. So, one of the things that we started to offer because we just felt like this was it's really a passion of ours at this point, right? to educate as many of our clients and those beyond them, right, and vendors and the whatnot on the spaces that we're offering free cybersecurity assessments, right?
Cool.
And it's a surface level assessment, but like you said, it helps us kind of identify the gaps, right? You may think a good one that people think I did this, so I should be safe is multi-factor authentication, and they'll do it on their email. So I get the code, I'm good, everything is safe. Almost, right? That takes care of your email, but your network, the things that that happen in there, there's other places, right, where it's used, and if it's not set up, it is a vulnerability. It is a risk, and so our assessment allows us to kind of see some of those without kind of being involved. It's very much of an external effort, so we don't need passwords or anything. We're just saying, hey, look, from what we can see outside looking in, right? This is where we see your issues are, and that can help us start the conversation about our services that can address all of these things that we brought up. So we kind of have the answers to the test, but based on how it comes back from that particular client, we can work with them to develop the right solution for them.
Cool. Awesome. And we don't want to use any scare tactics, but do you have any experiences of maybe charter schools that were maybe they're a little bit late, they procrastinated their cybersecurity or IT issues, and maybe the repercussions of not giving it the attention that it needed early enough in the process? And yeah, anything that you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I can't give any names because that'll get me in too much trouble. But I can tell you that I remember kind of when we started to hear the whispers about how this was important, and even for us at that time, not really being fully informed and fully understanding everything, we really felt like it was user education, right? It was being able to realize that email coming in is not a real email. That text message you got is not really, a link you should click on, right? And we thought that would be the thing. And even then people said, well, I watched a YouTube video, I'm okay, I won't get caught. And we actually did have a client lose a significant amount of money, and it's a very well structured organization, very good security practices from a financial perspective. But somebody got the request to pay a vendor money, vendor seemed correct, the link seemed correct, and then the money was gone. And there was nothing they could do about it, right? And it was human error. Human error is always going to be the one gap that is going to be extremely difficult to prevent, right?
Yeah.
Education does its best. But look, I can tell you, we run our own phishing assessments, and they're getting smarter and smarter. They sent me an Amazon link right around Christmas and said that my package was going to be late, that my kids can't have these toys late. Santa has to show up on time. And I clicked on it, and it's like, gotcha, right? And it's like, and I didn't put it together because I'm so nervous, and that's how they get you. I was so focused on the time of year and the situation that all of a sudden I'm saying, wait a minute, my Amazon account is not linked to my work email. Why would I? But the triggers just hit you, and they know, and they really become very sophisticated in being able to do that. So the education was just the start. But, as you can see, even clients that felt like, oh, yeah, maybe I'll get to it. Now, just so you know, that was the first client that we put in all of our security practice. So they definitely learned their lesson and went ahead and did what, needed to do. And we learned a lot from that together, as partners, and continue to develop even more from there.
Cool. And I love that personal story because it kind of teaches the principle that even if cybersecurity experts sometimes have a difficulty recognizing it, how much more susceptible are we, people that don't work with it on a daily basis? So I love that. Perfect. If people want to learn more about Charter Technology Solutions, learn more about your services, take the free cybersecurity assessment, the best place for them to go, would it be charterts.com?
Yes. I would go straight to there. We've redone our website from many moons ago. When I started, it's a very beautiful website. I'm always impressed by it. And it's continued to grow, and there's some thought pieces there, and we've become very active. So I would definitely start there. Reach out to us. We have a great team, fielding these requests, and we'll be happy to get straight to work on this. One of the things that I think is always really important in terms of what you really want to expect from an IT partner these days is really strategic planning and thought partnership, right? Because those are the things like we were talking before. A lot of the staff, even a lot of the students, I can tell you crazy stories about that, right? There's a lot of they know almost more than some of our interns that are coming in, right? They just understand they grew up with it. My kids run around here with iPads and they're constantly yanking it from me to say, Dad, I know how to do it. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
right? But it's really about taking data, right? And that's data from things that are going on in the organization. But it's really not only having the data, but really seeing the story in the data. And so
Mm,
one of the things I like to think about is it's kind of like you need the data, right? Which is kind of like you as a person need to get that data. Then you want to apply artificial intelligence because you're probably getting so much data. Are you able to really connect all the dots, right? If you apply that with emotional intelligence, so I think about AI plus EI actually equals WEI, right? Because it allows me to have a data driven decision that's built on looking at the whole situation, right? The plan for you, your future growth, all of those things. So what there is no cookie cutter solutions in
yeah.
my belief. I really believe we provide a very bespoke service that allows us to really look at the organization and say, hey, you know what? For that organization we have experience with, there's a piece from there that we can pull that I think would be beneficial to you. There's another piece from this other organization because we've seen really big schools, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10 sites. We've seen schools where it's just one site, and it's been that way for many years. And one person that's doing the bus schedule and communicating with us on IT, and that kind of experience allows us to really say, hey, what is the best thing that we can do for this particular client? And we really believe that value add that we provide is probably the best in the nation.
Awesome. Love that. Well, William, is there anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up? Maybe a question that I didn't ask that you have an answer to.
Um, no, the best thing I could tell, I could say is the thing that I've learned or I've appreciated the most about charter schools is the dedication of the staff. Right.
Yep.
So I definitely want to give kudos to that as someone who, let's put it this way. In the course of my time frame working with charter schools, I went from no children to 3 children. And I remember shortly after, I think my son, left daycare for the first day. And I remember thinking, I want to go apologize to all of these teachers for all the stuff that I did because wow, right? Like it's different to be on the other side of that coin, right? And
Yeah.
what they go through and what they do for the children of any state, right? I really believe it's just something about charter schools that, at least in my personal experience, that they're just some of the best people on earth over there doing, work that I could do. I'm like, please let me take care of this computer for you because if this movie doesn't show up on this projector, I wouldn't want to be in this room either. So,
Okay.
that great appreciation that I think our entire company has, right, just based on our experiences and my personal from being on site at schools, it really informs me. It really is the thing that I think about, like, oh, it's a printing problem. Oh, they have 10 printers. No, but it's report card season. And knowing that, right, as someone with experience, is like, no, we need to go today.
Yep.
Today, that has to get fixed because if I was a parent and I don't get my report card, I have a problem, right?
Yeah.
And so I really do see all sides of this coin. And so I definitely would say, I just want to say thank you in
Yeah.
all to all members of Charter, the education side, the admin side. I mean, it's really amazing work that I've seen done.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, William. For everyone that's interested in learning more about Charter Technology Solutions and their IT and cybersecurity services, you can visit them at charterts.com. William, thank you for being on the show.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.